Free Tory.
I gotta get props to Kelsey.
Yo,
that's how you handle some beef. Shoot out ass and diss her.
And get immunity immediately.
And get immunity on the ass, man.
She went
and
straight
send that nigga down the road to take the charge for
She went straight there and said, yo, I need immunity before I say anything.
And she got married and went on about her goddamn business, man. That's how you handle it, Kelsey.
I wonder how much.
Let's start with the old news.
Alright, so we go rewind it back. We back with Tory Lanez in the news again.
Yeah, we
Rock
are.
Nation, Megan Thee Stallion in the news again. According to Tory Lanez Instagram, Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times.
14 times. Collapsed lung.
2 collapsed lungs. He got stabbed twice in the back of the head, 7 times in the back. But according to his Instagram, he went to the hospital and he was good and he was up talking.
He's off the breathing machine and he's up and
talking. So first of all, from what I hear from niggas who done got stabbed and shot, when you go on the breathing machine and when you come off, it ain't that easy to talk.
Now I don't know. Again, this is all directly from Instagram.
From his Instagram.
It's no news stories. You know what I'm saying? No, the police departments, the jail ain't said nothing. This is.
They said the stabbing is real, but all the other shit
we can't confirm or
deny.
Man, listen, do what you got to do to get out of jail. So I mean, if you got to add embellishment to it, cool.
Hey, listen, if you can get him out of there though, he was able to go to the hospital off site, so he ain't got to worry about somebody sneaking in. It was said that he was stabbed by a Mexican gang member who was doing life,
serving life because he killed a young girl.
Mm-hmm. If you know anything about, from what I heard, Mexicans that are in jail doing life, leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah,
please.
I mean, specifically like certain cities, certain states where you got like a heavy amount of certain populations, different demographics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Mexican, black. That's the story of all this time when you come to the LA politics and all that. You know what I'm saying?
That's been a war for a long
essays
time.
and all that.
Yeah.
But and if you ever seen anything about like a documentary, a movie, in jail they do play them type of games where they will make somebody fall for this so they can start take a little war, or they do this so they can get moved somewhere else because I got my mans up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They do a lot of it's a lot of politics.
They said supposedly, Tory was holding down the black people too much, and they needed something to start a little back and forth, and he had to be the victim. I have a question. Maybe he just he's just not high profile enough, but why is he in general pop?
I thought that same thing. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. We know a million people of that stature that went to jail the last few years. We ain't heard nothing that serious happen to anybody.
Like for instance, right? We take it for instance because you know people that have been in jail before.
Yeah,
I know people that have been in jail. One thing they don't play with is like kids. R. Kelly ain't, from what I know, R. Kelly ain't been touched in jail.
Yeah,
and that's what he went to jail for touching young girls.
Yeah, it's one thing. I mean, a little couple physical altercations, whatever. That's
but that's regular when you're in jail.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, but like when what they do to people who are like molesters and pedophiles and shit like that.
Yeah,
they make a example out of them.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer got cleaned up.
They got him out of there.
They cleaned
him up.
Yeah,
so things like that. So I'm just saying, like with this being such a Tory was somewhat that was a high profile case.
Yeah, very extremely.
He was
national documentary.
Exactly. He was a star. She was a star. But
yeah,
for him to get, if that really is true, if that's true that happened that way, for him of all people, that's kind of wild.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? For life threatening, like damn near he could have lost his life. That's something that you're not gonna hear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's something that you're definitely not gonna hear about somebody that stature.
And don't get me wrong. I understand. People are mad about that whole situation, right? But what I don't, which is wild to me, is where they said that Megan Thee Stallion fans are starting to donate to putting money on the dude's books, the dude who stabbed Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
Which is, listen, I get it. Like I'm a fan of certain people, but no, I'm not about to. I don't promote violence and death. Like this dude could have died. But I'm saying, some circumstances. But I'm saying that's not. I'm not out here just he trying to kill him though. Let's help him out. I feel like that's.
And it wouldn't even make sense because if you do support Megan and you hate Tory, he's already being punished for what they believe he
did
is guilty of. He's already in prison. So now you want him. You want dead and prison. You don't want.
Yeah, you don't want one other. You want him you want him done.
Like you want him cleaned up. But I mean, that's a different story. You know what I'm saying? That's just complete hypocrisy. And people at that point, y'all not even really arguing about who's right or who's wrong. Y'all just support who you like.
Exactly. It's just irrational at this point in time.
Nonsense, which we can expect to a certain extent. I mean,
but speaking of that, in the news with that case, supposedly some news came out that it was overheard that Kelsey stated that she was the one to shoot.
So, yeah, a law firm who it represents Tory Lanez and people that they believe got us the short end of the stick when it comes to practices in the court system.
Right.
They said they were approached by Kelsey's, who's Megan's best friend. Ex-best friend. Pardon me. She made the diss song.
She definitely made the diss song immediately.
Called all calls of bitches and hoes. That shit was terrible. Hey, she did this.
That's what real diss song's about.
Exactly. But her former best friend's bodyguard, which I thought was hilarious. The fuck is why does Kelsey have a bodyguard? I ain't understand it.
I'll be honest with you. I think I've only seen like 1 or 2 pictures of her. I don't know what she looked like.
So the bodyguard came to that group that represents Tory Lanez and said that the truth of the matter is what happened that night was Kelsey is who shot Megan 3 times. Tory came and knocked the gun out of her hand, and the gun went off 2 more times. So he never even touched the gun, nor did he actually fire at Megan. Well, that's the bodyguard story, and he felt compelled to tell the truth because of the news about Tory Lanez.
Yeah. Well, that could lead to the point where they were stating that there was no gun residue on Tory. That says a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, man, neither here nor there at this point.
Speak your mind. Speak your mind about it.
Nor there,
this has bigger implications.
It does, because at this point in time, listen, we've talked about this story 14, 17, however many times.
It's been 5 years. It's 2020.
Yeah. It's been 5 years, and off the rip, we knew something was fishy as soon as Kelsey went in there and said, hey, I need full immunity. Yeah. And she never stated that he shot her.
Correct.
When Megan first came out, she went from I got shot to, oh, he shot me.
Correct. Yeah.
This story has changed 17 times.
Well, initially she said nobody said anything about a shooting to begin with.
Let's move on to back.
She was like, I called some weird shit was happening.
I stepped on glass, all of this, Correct. She was talking about the bullet fragments and how the doctor was iffy about that. So there's a lot of, this whole story is just a fucking shit show. Yeah, and I mean, again, let's say he did get stabbed. He's been in jail for this long now.
Yeah.
Why is it just now happening now and it didn't happen in the beginning? So I mean, there's a lot of things that could be, stated or could be looked at funny. Like it was this, let's just see how long it goes. Is he gonna retry this? Oh, people look at it as like it might have been Rock Nation who did this.
Well, that's the next thing. Yeah. So my first reaction was like, first of all, I was shocked when they came. I'm like, they've never done a PSA actually telling the story. We just seen a bunch of bloggers and people with opinions saying this is what they heard. Because this nigga Tory never said what happened. The most annoying nigga in the whole situation was Tory Lanez. Because he kept talking about it every chance he got. But he would never say what happened.
No.
He just said, I didn't do it. And he said, why would you lie about this? Like, but what is she lying about? Like, what are you saying shit is going on? They made a whole album, all kind of shit.
Nigga made a whole album about that shit, dog. Right before he went in, made a whole joint.
Yeah, it be like, my nigga, it's like somebody say something that happened. He's like, no, that didn't happen, because if that didn't happen, that wouldn't happen. So what happened?
So what the fuck happened?
So what happened?
Give me the fucking story,
like,
dog.
just tell me.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't no snitch. Nigga, whatever, man. Shut up. Right, you could have took the plea, and you could have never been in. You could have took 3 months, whatever the fuck it was. And you would have been cool. Oh, yeah. Nigga.
This nigga was getting cleaned up on me. Oh, shit.
Nigga got up out of there.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
That was good. Oh,
God.
God.
Hands down.
Oh. Yeah, oh shit! Oh my god!
That's how they said Tory was getting done up in that.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening.
What they described. Jeez.
Yo, all right,
that boxing shit.
We got some boxing shit going on in the background for niggas who can't fight, but that shit look crazy right now.
Getting all the muscle for no reason. That skinny nigga fucking him up.
Oh shit! That nigga just throwing wild ass hooks.
Yeah. Horrible fighters, but
nigga do all them push-ups for nothing.
Right, exactly. Let me refocus, man.
Yeah, thanks.
So the bigger implication here, number one. Let's just assume that these are the facts of the matter. Let's deal with the results.
Right.
What we do know is that Megan came out with a full-fledged documentary.
Correct.
And a part of that documentary was her discussing her interview with Gayle King, where she admittedly lied about her relationship with Tory Lanez. We don't know the reason behind that. You listen to one side, they say, listen, she's not responsible for talking about that, what they got to do getting shot. Well, it has larger implications when the truth of the matter, hey, what caused this altercation in the first place? What would lead this brother to do that to you? Cool, let's follow that.
Cause, which is sick, when you talk about like street code, men don't shoot women.
Correct.
So go ahead, continue.
The next piece of that, so let's move past that. Cool. Because that's the whole thing where the men and women start getting to going at each other because it's all opinion based. We don't know.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's a fact.
What we do know for a fact though is that following that interview clip in that documentary, she hired some of the best cartoonists, the best sketchers we've ever seen in our life, some anime masters.
Yeah, that shit was
to sketch up the scene of her story of what happened that night. And what she drew up was a short nigga jumping out of a Suburban with a gun pointed at her saying, dance, bitch, dance. And like started
Western.
The old country Western. Nigga looked like a villain. Like, it looked crazy. I swear to God, I'm not making this up.
What's the Western that used to be on the cartoons one that was real short?
Oh, Yosemite Sam?
Yosemite Sam. That's
exactly what it was. This is what she drew up. And he letting shots off. And she's scared for her life. Of course you would be somebody shooting at your feet.
Of course.
This is the story that she told. This is what she said happened.
Absolutely.
So let's just assume we got this story and this story. These are two vastly different stories.
Extremely different.
Vastly different stories. Let's say, you know what? Her side of the story is true. He went to jail. Now we got this. Cool. That would have been okay, but this thing has been carried out for so long for so many other reasons. Now we got the bodyguard saying this. So now let's play this part out. If this is the truth, how much money and how many phone calls had to be made for this situation to end up like this? DNA ain't coming up.
Right.
Evidence ain't being revealed.
Right.
The court case being short as hell.
Short. It should have been a 3, 4, 5, 6 month court case.
Anything. Who was getting the phone calls that no matter what the truth is, we're going to give him 10 years in jail?
No matter what.
No matter what. He ain't getting no appeal. Ain't none of this shit going down.
At all.
Who has that much power and that much pull? And that's when the conspiracy theories start coming out. Because it can't be the lawyer was just that bad.
At all. And they fired the lawyer too.
They definitely fired
the lawyer.
Because if you question this witness's credibility and she's admitted to lying on multiple occasions, I'm just speaking objectively.
Objectively, yeah, of course. And that's what
I'm not saying who's right or wrong.
If you take the people out of the situation, we're just speaking about this case.
I'm saying let's play out the scenario. The first scenario, her story already played out. He's in jail for assault with a firearm. He's not supposed to have a weapon. California not supposed to have no guns.
Yeah, correct.
Cool. That side played out.
And
let's play out this.
Mind you, by the way, for people who don't know, assault does not mean that he shot her. Assault means that a gun was pointed at her, and that can be aggravated assault.
Correct. That is true. So. That is true. You can't point guns at people. So.
Yeah. That's the best. That's threatening.
I just want to know because it wasn't just a court case either. It was also a whole campaign that Megan was the face of for like maybe 3 months. Protect Black. They had her on every award show.
Literally.
Protect Black women. We need to trust and believe Black women. This is what took place.
Bro, we hold on. Prior to that, remember, we hadn't seen Jay and Beyonce at Grammys for the longest before that until the Meg shit. And then that's when, Beyonce did whatever after that. But we hadn't seen them before that. And Megan's getting all these awards at the Grammys and all of this. That says a lot. That campaign was going.
It says a whole lot. And I'm not here to pick a side, but what I do know,
Totally.
The same level of scrutiny and punishment that Tory Lanez received for shooting her.
Allegedly.
Let's switch to realities. He did not shoot her, and I ain't even gonna call her a liar. She misremembered something, and that's not what happened. What should be the consequences for somebody putting somebody through that?
All right, so
and she didn't do it by herself. So let me include everybody.
You gotta include everybody.
The whole campaign around her career,
mm-hmm.
the whole support, believe, trust black women that went into that whole movement to convince the opinion of the public opinion.
So
what should happen now?
So for one, we can't necessarily. I feel like the only people that can really be involved with some kind of consequences are the people that's involved, because I don't feel like everybody outside is just like, you know, for instance, lawyers and shit just doing their job. People who are paying for the shit is just doing the best to make sure that their person is getting the best, you know, representation possible.
Do they believe that guilty?
Yeah. So yeah, that's like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm on your side, I'm your lawyer, or if I'm like, or if, you know, I'm paying you or something, you gonna, hey, I don't give a fuck what happened, let me just make sure your shit is straight. So, but with her, it's the same thing I feel about people who do false rape statements. Of course, I don't think there's ever going to be a time that you're going to get, like, you know, somebody who actually raped you, they get 20 years. You're never going to get 20 years. Okay. But you've taken away from what could have been somebody's life and livelihood. You know, people out here have families that they're feeding. Correct. And I'm taking it, this is not men, women, or whatever. I'm talking about people in general who lie and put somebody in jail. Somebody was out here doing a job, getting a job done to feed their family, and you took that away from them because of whatever anger or whatever you had against them. Cool. You have to have some type of consequences that affect you damn near in the same manner. So no, you may not get 10 years, but you need to do 2. You may need to do 3. You need because or even this. There needs
so
to
if
be
he got stabbed 14 times, she needs 7. She needs 7 stabbies.
Stab for a stab at this point.
Stab for a stab.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that, because this nigga did say stab for a stab.
I'm asking, is that what you said?
But no, it needs to be some type of retribution, because think about this, right? Tory Lanez, especially during the COVID time, Tory Lanez was at the peak of his career.
So was Megan.
Yeah, they were both at the peak of their career. Correct. Tory Lanez, whatever deal he had, whatever money he was getting was lost. So you could have potentially taken, you know, 10s, 20s, 50s, hundreds of millions of dollars out of my pocket.
Correct.
I need that retribution for all this time that I've lost and everything that I could not do. Because whatever fandom that Tory did had, he had to lose at least half of that on a bare minimum, because, you know, I think that he ended up developing fans even more so because they saw him and Megan together a lot.
So are you saying that she should suffer those similar consequences, or are you saying that she should be responsible for helping him regain everything he lost? Like a payout?
Yes. I mean, at this point in time, because, you know, just how we know how the justice system works and shit like that, I don't think that she's not going to be sent to jail. Okay. That's not going to happen. You know, so we don't know.
Jussie Smollett got sent to jail for lying. Wasting police resource. He did. He still maintained.
He still maintained that bullshit lie. But Justin Smollett didn't have what Megan had, Stallion behind it. Yeah. So I don't believe, but there should be some type of, hey, consequences. Hey, you need to be on probation. You need to sit the fuck down. You need not to be in the spotlight. You can't have any of this, and there should be some type of payout. Again, I went to jail and I'm unable to do what I was doing to feed my family. I need something to replace that. Okay. That's just my thought. What about your thought?
I want the entire group, everybody that would be involved in it, because bro, that does not take Megan.
It's not just one person. Yeah.
They put out a documentary.
They did.
Prom investigation too. That was Amazon Prime. Y'all in investigation too.
For supporting that shit.
Ridiculous. I want anybody who could possibly think to manufacture. It was crazy. Left and right, man. All y'all niggas getting charges, man. Just fucking gave everybody why I sell a charge.
Oh, yeah, legal charge, dog.
Yeah, everybody getting charged. Nah, I'm joking. I just want to know, from here, do you think that Tory will be released?
Debatable. The only reason I say debatable is simply because it was just brought to attention. There was no appeal filed. There was nothing else filed. Okay. I do think that if they go further and appeal something, he may be able to get time served, and then, you know, because of whatever endangerment that they have, they may be able to release him. Correct. But I do think what will happen if he does get released, they're gonna send his ass back to Canada.
Why would they do that?
Well, for one, how the president in office right now is doing things, and you did have a huge case with a prominent star, and you know that does hinder certain things on that side where they look at it like, okay, you've taken away from this woman's blah blah blah, however it looked at. So I feel like, and you know, again, he's not an American citizen. Send him back to Canada because that could be part of your probation or part of your probationary terms of, all right, we are releasing you, you know, based on these circumstances and your life being in danger, but get your ass back to Canada.
Okay.
And that may be one of those things where, you know, like, for instance, you know how Canada has this rule, if you have a felony, you can't come to Canada.
Right.
If you've done something within a certain amount of time, you can't come to Canada.
Right.
I feel like they may make that circumstance of saying, hey, yeah, you may be able to come over here, but within this period of time. You can't come here for a long time. Like, you know how they just did with Young Thug's case. He can only come to Atlanta for specific reasons, specific reason only.
Charity events.
Exactly. And he can't be around certain people.
Yeah, correct.
And so now it's going to be that, I feel like it may be that thing where, hey, you can't come here for X amount of time, and yeah. So that's my only thought. But I feel like at this point in time, like you said, I feel like there needs to be a lot of consequences for people involved. Because again, you put this whole story who could have been whatever could have happened, where it could have been resolved amicably, it wasn't, and you've taken away livelihood from somebody, especially if this is a lie. You know, we still don't know what the fuck the truth is. It's been so many different stories, but again, if this is a lie, you've taken someone's livelihood away. You have to suffer some type of consequences.
Gotcha. In closing,
Tory?
I gotta get props to Kelsey.
Yo,
that's how you handle some beef. Shoot out ass and diss her.
And get immunity immediately.
And get immunity on the ass, man. And send that nigga down the road to take the charge for
She went straight there and said, yo, I need immunity before I say anything.
And she got married and went on about her goddamn business, man. That's how you handle it, Kelsey.
I wonder how much money she got.
Hey, do the Googles. ChatGPT.